Ireland has an anti-Semitism problem. Yeah, we've talked about Ireland a lot. I always think if you're gonna say maybe they're honestly mistaken, you would have to think, yeah, what does that look like? You know, they were watching on the morning of October 7th, the live footage by the Palestinians of what they were doing. Maybe they were watching the live stream of the Idan family from the Idan family home, which was done on the mother's Facebook by the terrorists. Moments after they had murdered the 18-year-old daughter, they live streamed the two parents sitting there with the two remaining children, and of course the terrorists holding them and for about an hour, I think maybe more, and then took the father, Tsahi to Gaza, where he was tortured and starved as hostages have been, and then murdered. And they probably looked at that and they thought, wow, the Adan family is committing genocide against the Palestinians. We need to do something about this. That's if you're gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, because there is no doubt. Ireland officially, and I know there are people in Ireland who don't like this, but officially Ireland is anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. And it got to the point where when the International Court of Justice case that Israel is committing genocide wasn't really turning out the way they thought they would, despite the kangaroo court, being set up for this very purpose. They asked the court to redefine genocide to make sure that if Jews actually do continue trying not to be killed, that meets the definition of genocide. So yeah, Ireland's pretty bad. But even by Irish standards, there is one guy who is next level. His name is Mick Wallace. He is what is he? A member of European Parliament, right? Um, should we start? This is a short video. It's 2.5 minutes, but there's so much in it that we will go through it very slowly. Let's see him speaking in the European Parliament, and you think, hating the Jews, you support Hamas, that's all to be expected, but there are even by those standards there are surprises. Should we go straight ahead, Daniel?
Yeah, sure. I should just mention, yes, he is the member of the EU Parliament. I realize that most people are listening to podcast versions, so they might not see me nodding my head, but let's listen.
Do we have a podcast version of this show?
Well, I mean, people might just listen to it. I don't, when I watch YouTube stuff, I never watch the actual video. I just
Yeah,
listen.
always look when I ask Daniel because he will nod. All right, let's watch the video.
I was surprised that you didn't really put things in context before you gave your speeches. We have almost 30,000 Palestinians murdered by the Israeli regime, over 12,000 children. We have over 90% of the population are starving now. Babies have been born to malnourished mothers.
Okay. Let's. I think this is a good place to. We could even with the 10 seconds or so that we just watched, we could have probably broken that into like five parts. So yeah, he starts with Hamas numbers. Was this was before the Hamas numbers were revised, right?
I don't know what I cannot. I don't know where his numbers are from. Like even according to the UN, they are claiming 50,000. Now, when it comes to specifically children, he said over 12,000. UN says 15,000. I've seen something saying like 60,000. So I have like I don't know if it's like these people don't actually care even about the numbers. It's like I 30,000. Yeah, that sounds enough. Let's go with that. Like, does he not even care about the actual numbers? Does he not actually care
Well, I have
about?
to say this video is old, so that's the reason. This video is from like over a year ago.
Uh, is it really? Okay, I tried to check that. All right, then why did you say that? Now
So
I
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, he is repeating Hamas numbers, and that's what they were then, and yeah, they've since revised it. The most recent revision says that 72% were actually men of fighting age. That's I haven't seen anything on his Twitter, and I've been looking anything on his Twitter about that. And again, we were doing a show a couple days ago where during the show we heard that the guy who had the name Muhammad twice in his name, who was in charge of the kidnapping of the Bibas family, the Bibas mother and children, had died. Now, if you look even at the media, let alone at these, Hamas propagandists, you will hear Israel killed this number of people. Compare this to how many died on October 7th, and that's what matters. Rather than, you know what? Israel is killing terrorists. In the process, also civilians die because the terrorists go out of their way to make sure that civilians die, including their own children in many cases, because they know that, there's division of labor here. They're doing their part. And the let's say the propaganda wing, which Mick Wallace is an important part of, will do their part. Repeat the numbers, package it in wording that appeals to good people in the West, and they'll buy it. They'll buy the fact that the victims are actually the savages who started this war and refuse to end it, refuse the standing offer that Israel has, which of course I object to end the war. So yeah, that's where he stands.
Yeah, he also says, over 90% of the populations are starving now. Uh, now, again, I don't know where exactly this video is from, but we've heard the Palestinians are starving claim. Well, at the very least, if this video is older, it has been proven not true because, again, we still don't have a single person actually dying from starvation.
Yeah, so it says January 24th, 2024, and 90% of the population was starving then. Now, when you're starving, I don't think you usually last, 15 months. So I haven't seen any revision by him. I actually seen him, retweet his own video shamelessly without saying, yes, I said 15 months ago that 90% of this population is starving, but 15 months on, they're all alive and well, and the actual population of Gaza has reportedly grown during this period of genocide. So yeah, interesting dude, an interesting audience that buys this and actually retweets this. To me, this is like retweeting Jeremy Corbyn's tweet about the Al Ali hospital bombing where 500 people died. That's the level of this person. Yeah.
Yeah, and also if it was 30,000 in January 2024, we are about a year and 3 months later, and you're telling me 20,000 people died since then. If you take the UN statistics, which they are simply getting it from the Gaza Health Ministry, it's almost as if you had the start of the war where you had the biggest sort of things happening, and then it was scaled down, which is that what you do with genocide? You slowly stop killing them. So yeah, like late at the later time of this video, he goes on like he cannot believe how anybody could not see this. But it's like, yeah, because we look at reality and know that whatever the hell he's looking at. Now, I want to make one more point about the starvation. You know where people are actually starving? He later go on to say in Yemen, where more than 100,000 people actually did starve. We know
Wait, but
people
this
have
is a
starved.
spoiler, dude. We're gonna get to Yemen.
Well,
You're
but I need to
spoiling.
make the starvation point here.
All right.
Uh, and it was in the Houthi control. Well, okay, I can make this point later.
Yeah. I did want to say, Vered says in the chat, I remember news reports saying they were starving back in October of 2023. There was an episode we did, Daniel, I don't know if you remember the title and how we can find it, but where we went through UN reports saying the people of Gaza are starving. And there were several, the recent ones. There's 2020, there's 2012. They do this all the time. This is part of the propaganda. Every few years, even if there is no round of fighting in Gaza, they have to say the people are starving, and whatever else it is that they like to accuse Israel of. And again, during this whole time, there is no actual starvation in Gaza. The population has grown, and people keep repeating this lie. Thank you, Daniel. Starving Gaza, Hollywood's latest hit. That's the name of the episode. Can you put if you find it? If not, let's continue with the video.
babies have been born to malnourished mothers and they're only living for a few days. And you're saying that there's an unacceptable violation of international law going on, and it's the Houthis doing it? Under international law, we have an obligation to prevent genocide taking place. The EU has done nothing to stop the genocide taking place. The Houthis have done something about it.
All right, let's pause here because, again, this is something that many in the pro-Palestinian side are too shy to do for various reasons. But he is full on expressing support for the Houthis, attacking not just ships coming to, bring us goods here, but also attacking civilians and attempting to murder Jews unsuccessfully, mostly. But yeah, that's so. Yeah, this gives you a good indication of who we're talking about here, Daniel.
Yeah, and again, Ansar Allah, or the Houthis, as we call them, are a designated terrorist organization. Although I guess not by the UK, only by the United States, not by the Europe or the European Union rather either. So I guess he can sort of get away with it. Although even if they were a terrorist organization, he would be able to get away with it pretty easily. Now, he talks about babies being born to malnourished mothers, and that's sad to see. Maybe Hamas should, I don't know, stop the war and stop, continuing with this. If it really that is what the problem is, what his sort of like biggest problem is.
And of course, there is zero evidence for this. It's just probably, some sort of, Hamas health ministry press release.
Yeah, well, I could sort of like see that, but as you say, he didn't he didn't provide any, it's sort of like you should know this already. That's what this is. Now he said about that the Houthis are the ones who are actually stopping this. Yeah, they are attacking shippings and killing people, not to mention leading a war in their own nation. So again, anybody who says anything about the international law or the UN Charter itself, they don't actually give a shit. They don't actually care. It's only well, we can now sort of use this out of context to sort of attack the Jews. So that's what we are going to do now. If we can go to the UN Charter a bit later, but yeah, he is absolutely like calling for actual terrorism here.
Yeah, and look, our audience knows this, but it is important to remind people every time the so-called pro-Palestinian side talks about women and children, look at what they said on October 7th and know that they do not care about the lives of women and children. What they care about is Jews being murdered, and they're unhappy with the fact that since October 7th, it's been a bit more difficult to accomplish. All right, let's go to the super chats and then we can continue with the video. Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says, I maintain a full boycott of Ireland. Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, actually, because I don't call for boycotts and stuff, and I don't think that would have any effect if I did. But yeah, for me, a few days ago, I was buying butter, and Kerrygold is kind of outside of the luxury brands, the best butter you can get. And very, very painfully, I went for Lurpak because the thought of even a few pennies going to this despicable country is worse than the thought of butter that's not as good. Thank you, PC, for another super chat. PC says, Razi, Lamy got so upset when two MPs got refused entry to Israel. Lamy is crying, LOL. I mean, Lamy's statement on this, and especially his response to Kemi's statement. We talked about a different Kemi statement yesterday, but she later tweeted something that I really did like, and it was amazing to see Lamy actually digging in and saying, why aren't you talking about conservative MPs that aren't allowed into China? When, again, like the Labor government doesn't allow people into the country because of their views. They send people in this country to prison if their views are too far away from the Labor Party's views. So it really is astonishing to see David Lammy saying to Israel, how dare you not let two terrorist supporters into your country when they tell you they're there to help the enemy in its effort to murder all your people. That is the essence. That is translated from politician to English. That's David Lammy for you. All right. Okay, I'm pissed off enough about Mick Wallace. Let's get back to David Lammy some other day. Daniel, anything to say before we keep watching the video?
Well, when it comes to boycotting Ireland, as I've already said, well, one, I have no idea what products Ireland actually exports. So I don't know how could I even boycott them, even if I wanted. Ryanair is doing really bad flights from my country right now, so I'm pretty much Wizz Air completely now. I even got the Plus subscription or whatever it's called to get cheaper flights. The only thing that is making it really hard to sort of actually boycott Ireland is that if you're a European investor, pretty much every single ETF is domiciled in Ireland because of they have really good tax law when it comes to this. So unless I want to completely stop investing, it's gonna be pretty hard to actually. Although I can get like a tax exemption, and so my taxes will not actually go to Ireland. There's like a little percentage that would normally go, and I can opt it out as a member of the European Union. So I'll do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It is difficult, very difficult if you actually want to boycott Ireland completely. Not as difficult as if you want to boycott Israel completely, though. Thank you, Roland, for the super chat. Roland says Lure Pack is actually pretty good. I agree. It's just not a Kerrygold level. Um, all right. By the way, I've been told I am not in a position to make fun of people's hair or facial hair, so I'm gonna not comment on his. But let's watch some more of him.
Well, I'll make fun of it. I mean, he should look a bit more presentable. Like he has T-shirt. Like I have a T-shirt. I'm doing a podcast, but he has T-shirt in like I'm not sure if this is the. I think this is the European Parliament.
Yeah.
Like, come on, get some suit or get at least like an actual sort of like a dress shirt and not just a T-shirt. Like, come on.
No comment.
it, and by interfering with shipping, facilitating the genocide. How, in God's name, how can you just turn a blind eye to the truth of what's really happening? The Houthis have killed nobody with the interference of the ships. Israel has killed 30,000, and you're giving out about the Houthis who've killed nobody? You're putting shipping before the lives of Palestinians. You just don't give a damn about the Palestinian lives, and that's the
All right.
truth.
Yeah, come on. First of all, we know you don't give a damn about Palestinian lives. This isn't about the Palestinians, it's about the Jews. But it's hearing this guy actually defend the Houthis and go on about defending the Houthis and, lie in defense of the Houthis. Shipping, facilitating genocide, it's the stuff that we all buy in this country and in your country. Daniel, any response to that?
Yeah, I mean, he uses under international law, we have an obligation to prevent genocide. Now, again, I really dislike when people say under international law. They should state like actual documents they're referring to, so I can actually look them up and just check for myself. He is referring to the Geneva Convention, which yeah, it's true. We have an obligation, and also we have an obligation to not engage in it, like Hamas did on October 7th. And also Israel is not actually engaging in genocide. This is war. Israel is leading war, and every argument he says, everything he says about what Israel is doing to the Palestinians can be explained by, yeah, it's war. That's what you would expect to happen in a war. It's bad for the side that is losing. That's why you don't start the war. That's why you don't engage in that sort of you don't engage in war. It's not a good way to spend your time. It's not a good way to lead a prosperous life. The Palestinians have decided war and they're suffering the consequences of it. Israel should absolutely go into Gaza, should absolutely completely occupy it. Any nation that starts a war is giving up on its legitimacy, is giving up on its right to exist, it's giving up on its sort of sovereignty. Israel should completely take over Gaza. What else did he say? The Houthis have done. Wait, how much did he say the Houthis have done something about it by interfering with the shipping, facilitating genocide? Oh yeah, he did say that. So he made a point about how Houthis are doing something about stopping the genocide that Israel is engaging in. Now, again, if this video is a bit older, then the statistics might not completely map one on one. But I think even at the start, they didn't just attack Israeli ships. They didn't just attack ships going to Israel or going from Israel. They attacked any ship they wanted. They sunk a UK ship. They sunk I think also a Greek ship, which I think happened pretty early into when Houthi started doing this. He said they didn't kill anybody, which again is not true, and I think it wasn't true even when it started. So again, the numbers might be different, but at this point they killed 2 Navy SEALs, one U.S. Navy sailor, 2 IDF soldiers, 1 Vietnamese and 3 Filipino sailors, 2 Israeli civilians, a World Food Program worker. Not to mention hundreds of injuries. They have hijacked 2 ships. One of the ships is still in custody of the Houthis, and 30 ships were damaged, and 1 UK and 1 Greek ship have sunk. So this is not some peaceful resistance, and it wasn't. They attacked international shipping. The goal was to sink the ships. The goal was to kill people.
By the way, I don't remember if in this video or anywhere else he explains why the Houthis slaughtering their own people is helping, combat genocide. Maybe he has, I don't know. El Rito says, "Homeless gobshite. We're working on a shoestring budget here, so but yeah, El Rito is part of the solution because he is a member of the YouTube channel, and yeah, I assume you meant Mick, not me, but let's see some more of Mick.
And you're worried about spillover in international law. Israel is bombing Lebanon, is bombing Syria, is bombing Gaza, and you're worried about the Yemenis interfering with ships because there's money been lost over it. Is there a joke? Honest, I just don't understand how you can take this perspective.
All right, this is a thing, that it's kind of. I'm sometimes surprised, and I shouldn't be, when it's people at the politician level or the politician kind of side of this propaganda machine say it. It's kind of something I expect more from, the Jackson Hinkles of the world to kind of promote this kind of specific crap. But yeah, and by the way, I don't know if anybody actually question him on this in the European Parliament. I'm going to take a wild guess. Actually, there are, I think, some pro-Israel people, but not, not many.
Well, as any sort of even very interested person in politics that lives in the EU country, I have no idea who is actually in the EU Parliament because nobody speaks about it. Pretty much, there is an election, they go away, and you never hear from them until election actually happens again. It's a big problem of the EU that they should try to solve. That basically nobody knows who is actually there. Now, he said you're putting shipping before the lives of Palestinians. And yeah, we're putting the rights to life and property of people around the world who are peaceful above the people who decided to attack another nation and decided to pretty much with no regard kill, rape, mutilate, kidnap, including children, pretty much any. Not even any Jew, any Israeli they could find after breaching the border. Yeah, I have no sympathy. I have no, and yeah, I'm putting the lives of the people on the ships and the lives and property of the people who those ships were headed for instead of Palestinians.
Yeah, just to clarify what I mean, Jackson Hinkle level stuff is him talking about, well, Israel is bombing so many different places that, clearly they're the bad guys. It's kind of like saying, oh, look how many died here and look how many died there. And necessarily wherever the death toll is higher, that side is the victim. And yeah, Israel didn't attack Lebanon. Lebanon attacked Israel. Israel didn't attack Gaza. Hamas invaded Israel, and the Palestinian people followed when they saw an opportunity to kill as many Jews as possible. Syria has been a threat since before Israel was officially founded. So yeah, and continuously a threat. So this is Again, this is a person who, if this was World War II, he would explain to you why the Jews deserve to go into the gas chambers, and even the way they go into the gas chambers is somehow a genocide against the Germans. Should we hear more of this despicable anti-Semite?
What he's going to do about it? Is he ever going to tell Israel that they're committing a genocide? Because if this is not a genocide that's going on in Gaza, then what would you call it? That's one of my questions to you. I want you to know, what would you call what's going on in Gaza if it's not a genocide?
All right, let's help him out. It's called a war. The people you support launched it with the biggest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. They live streamed themselves torturing, murdering, burning people alive. They took hostages who they tortured as well. In some cases, when they're little babies, they smash their heads in with their own hands. And when you do something like that, sometimes people don't like it when you do that to them. And sometimes they're like, you know what, we're going to try to at least make sure this doesn't happen again. So that's what it's called. Now, I have a question for him, which he will not answer, although I assume he will actually watch this episode for real. I'm not in the way I say that Netanyahu watches every episode. If what Israel is doing is a genocide, which side in which war in history did not commit a genocide? Or which side that did commit a genocide fed its enemy during the war, sent soldiers to die not in defense of their own country, but in defense of the enemy so that civilians won't die. Yeah, you really do have to redefine genocide to something almost the opposite of what it is to come to this guy's conclusion. But again, I'm not now, nor will I ever be in the future, a member of the European Parliament, and I doubt anybody there said that to him.
Yeah, I mean, he says, I just don't understand how we can take this perspective, which is sort of a question I would give to him unless I knew what exactly he is. He's anti-Western, he's anti-Jewish, he's anti-Israeli. He wants states like Israel and ultimately all Western states to be gone. Because what else are you calling for when a terrorist organization, or I don't even have to go there. If a nation decides to declare war on you and you state to them you cannot defend yourself, imagine if the attitude that Israel is getting, Ukraine was getting. They would already be completely occupied by Putin. They would already be completely destroyed. It would be gone long time ago. It's only because they are not strong enough to actually completely kick out Putin. That's when it's moral to defend yourself. It's when you're not actually strong enough to actually defend yourself. You are. It's more of a you are in this state of you are sort of. You are in a bad position, but you're not actually winning, so we'll sort of like defend you. Now he says, are you ever going to tell Israel they are committing a genocide? Well, no, if they are not, why would I ever do that? And yeah, I mean, you made this point. If this is not a genocide, what would you call it? It's war. I mean, it's nothing different. The only difference is the fact that I think people oftentimes on the pro-Hamas side say, this is the first live stream genocide, but it's more of a case that this and Ukrainian war are sort of one of the first wars, or sort of one of the very few wars where everything is televised, everything is sort of put on the internet, and war is bad. I mean, do you like? People don't see the footage from the World War II, but if you saw it, it's not like it's like roses and sunshines on either side. It's not like the bombing of the German cities. It was like this like nice bombing. No, it was war. It's really ugly. That's why we have to fight against it. But not for the sake of the terrorists, not for the sake of the enemy side, not for the sake of the Nazis to keep genociding the Jews because we do not want war. No, you stop war by destroying, completely annihilating the side that decided to start a war because it's so abhorrent. And the fact that he'll go to the UN at some point. But the fact that UN was founded as this, we will because we understand how war is terrible, we'll try to make this institution to prevent war. But instead, they institutionalized that is a word for that.
Institutionalized.
Yeah, that's the word. They made war an actual institution where it will go on forever. Unless one side defends it and ends it, it will go on forever. Unless Ukrainians kick out Russians out of their land, this war will continue forever. Unless Israel actually does something about the Palestinians who do want war, um, this will go on forever. And this war has been going forever. This didn't start on October 7, as they like to say. This did start from however back you want to go, because Israel many times has refused to actually completely finish off the culture that declared war on its soil, and the international community itself has never allowed Israel and has never supported Israel to actually defend itself. Instead, all nations are equal. So if one side wants to genocide the other, meaning the Palestinians or Arabs, they can do so because it's self-determination.
Thank you, Christian, for the super chat. Christian says this guy is an annoying Palestinian. That's being generous. I mean, this guy is the purest form of evil. Like, you go to the evil store, you need to, ask them to go to the back to the special section because they don't have that level of purity there on display. Thank you, the new Bronze Age collapse, who says, check my message in the chat. I don't see it. Daniel, do you see it?
I do not.
All right. If you can't send it, and then send it in on the form on the website, and we're gonna read it. Should we watch some more of the video?
Yeah, I'm putting in the chat contact form. You can send it there, and we'll read it after we watch this last part.
Genocide. And my other question to you is, if right now the US and UK are bombing cities in Yemen, do you think that's against the UN Charter? Because I do. Please tell me. It might be okay with the international rules-based order that just make up as you go along, but it is not okay with the UN Charter.
All right. Yeah, I'm definitely no expert on the UN Charter. I don't know if the UN Charter says a country can basically... What?
I read it. I know what he's referring to.
Okay, tell us what he's referring to, in which terrorists can fire at countries and people from countries, and the countries can never fire back. Where is that in the charter?
First of all, the UN Charter, by the way, it starts with the phrase "we the peoples," which sounds super weird, and I don't know why it says it like that. And it's actually about as long as the US Constitution, which is also kind of interesting. You see how, the words actually matter, what you write in the thing. But let's go to the UN Charter. I guess it's just a matter of opinion, man. But in the Article 51 of the UN Charter, it says, nothing in the present Charter shall impair the inherent right of individual or collective self-defense if an armed attack occurs against a member of the United Nations, until the Security Council has taken measures necessary to maintain international peace and security. Measures taken by members in the exercise of this right of self-defense shall be immediately reported to the Security Council and shall not in any way affect the authority and responsibility of the Security Council under the present Charter to take at any time such actions as it deems necessary in order to maintain or restore international peace and security. So what this means is that basically when something happens, nations still have the right to defend themselves. It has this thing about, they should say to the UN Security Council about what they are actually doing, what actions they are taking, and the UN Security Council should take measures to prevent this. So the Houthis attacked international shipping. The UN Security Council should have taken steps to stop this. They didn't. They didn't take any military actions against Yemen. So US, UK, and the coalition under the Operation Prosperity Guardian took actions against the Houthis, including bombing some of the cities. And they said that to the UN Security Council. They actually said, hey, we are actually doing this because you guys are not doing anything. So the guy hasn't read the UN Charter. And, the time I spent on researching the UN Charter and going into it is time wasted because nobody gives a shit about what the UN Charter says and what it would imply even under the so-called international law.
So the new Bronze Age collapse. Thank you for another super chat. He says he sent it on the form. Yes, I saw it. So the comment was, is it wrong for me to wish that Israel builds a certain thing with cobalt, aka a cobalt bomb? So if anyone tries pulling a mustache guy again, the whole planet blows up. Yeah. Yes, and I understand why YouTube didn't like that comment. But yeah, let's kill the killers, and then the rest of us should stick around and live in peace. Um, Thank you, PC, for the super chat. PC says, Razi, this guy is annoying sometimes, but he's the best producer in the world, so we keep him around. All right, enough with those jokes. All right. Daniel didn't even get it. Or worse, he did and he doesn't find it funny. Okay, I'll read the super chats. And then Ginger says, thank you, Ginger, for the super chat. Ginger says, the evil store, I love it. And Chandler, it wasn't a super chat, but it has to be read. Chandler says, Billy Connolly really fell off. Yeah, Google Billy Connolly. He's funny. And yeah, I that's Chandler's words, not mine, because again, I don't comment on people's here. Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, again, what do you even say to a guy like that? Like, that's what really like makes me hate the people, most of them. It's like, I like the idea of going into the UN Charter and like talking about like, oh, what does this mean actually for nations? Can nations actually take actions when it comes to Yemen? I have really great conversations with ChatGPT, but it's the fact that yeah, these people do not care. They don't care about the law. They don't care even about this idea of international law, which again, if normally I don't think nations should have or at the very least when nations sort of sign and which international law, there is no such thing as international law. There are certain treaties, certain documents that some nations sign and some nations don't, and under those sort of signing certain obligations come up. But fundamentally I don't think if we want to actually make anything out of international law, the countries that do sign it should put it into actual law of the nation so we can actually work with that. But this idea that some head of state signs some international document and then potentially that document supersedes even the law of the land, the law of the actual country, is again, it makes it I mean, it makes it. I'll just quote ChatGPT when I asked him about application of international law, and there was a line that I think I found really funny that I posted on our WhatsApp groups, which people should become members to be part of because there's great stuff there. But it said the UN's approach to groups like the Houthis is carefully balanced between reality and international law, which I found really funny. The idea that international law is going like separate from reality, which it actually does, because it is impossible. But especially when you want to say that the Western nations trying to protect international shipping and attacking the Houthis is a violation of international law. Then it like you cannot work with that. It's clearly unobjective. It clearly the only purpose is to stop Western nations from defending themselves. And the reason why I say Western nations is because those are the only ones who actually care for the rule of law. So those are the only ones that would potentially even follow any kind of international law. China will commit genocide. Russia will commit genocide. And then do not care what the UN says. They do not care what any international courts say, because they do not follow the law of their own countries. They do not respect the individual rights of their own people. Why would they ever care what any sort of foreign court says?
Thank you, Akira, for the super chat. Akira says they always bring up the UN Charter, but not Hamas. Yeah, I don't know. This guy may have brought up Hamas. I, watched as much of his stuff as I could stomach and read as many of his tweets. But these people at this level, like him, if he's defending the Houthis, supporting the Houthis, and defending all their actions, I'd be surprised if he's against anything that Hamas did. And look, some of these people, Owen Jones, condemned October 7th while explaining why, it was a special kind of murder as opposed to, the deaths of people in Gaza, which is a genocide, which is what he was saying, within a very short period of time from the actual attempted genocide. Um, we're done with the video, right? We went through the whole thing.
Yes.
Well, that was fun. Thank you, PC, for another super chat. PC says Jews cannot pray at the Western Wall. It violates international law. It's beyond the 1949 line, apparently, according to Woke UN. Yeah, that's occupied Palestinian territories, which of course were controlled by Jordan and no longer. And actually, even the area, under Israeli control, they Jews cannot go to the Temple Mount, which is right above um, the wall because it's offensive to Muslims or something. Parting thoughts?
Somebody is asking, can someone explain the cobalt thing? I don't know if I understood it properly, but I think it would be some sort of like bomb that would pretty much destroy the whole world or something like that. Which again, I like maybe Israel has nukes or maybe it doesn't. We don't know. But basically, even when it comes to that, I think that sort of enough to be sort of any sort of deterrent. Again, like the idea that Russia can get away with doing what it's doing in Ukraine, and people say, well, we do not want to start World War III, so we shouldn't, engage with Russia or try to fight against Russia. Try to look at the population density on Russia. It's like nothing everywhere, and then two big blips in Moscow and St. Petersburg. The people who have such a population density should really not try to bait a nuclear war because they would not come out of that very well. Now, somebody earlier, yeah. Oh, somebody earlier in the chat said main five obviously control the overall direction of the UN focus and decision. I do not believe so. The UN Security Council doesn't do shit. It doesn't actually do anything pretty much ever. And even when it does, it means Russia, China, France, UK, and US have to agree on something. Whenever they agree, it's usually you are either like really bad that pretty much all of them can agree that you are far gone even beyond sort of like the even by the UN standards, or it's something that won't really do anything because all of them have to compromise, meaning it's not like you cannot compromise between the West and the destruction of the self philosophy in China, or the complete departure of law of individual rights. Like there is nothing like that. So most of the things are result of the actual what is it called, the UN Assembly. They decide who is at the UN Human Rights Council. They decide who is at all positions. They pick the UN Secretary General. They are actually the ones deciding everything. They are the ones who are giving legitimacy to the whole thing. So most of it is done by authoritarian nations. Basically, all of it, if there was like a coalition of the Western rights respecting nations and then authoritarian nations, authoritarian have like a super majority that can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I will say the General Assembly has, less teeth in their kind of resolutions when they pass something. But yeah, it's easier to pass. And with the Security Council, when it comes to Israel, from time to time something passes because a U.S. president wants to punish Israel, so they either abstain or vote with Russia and China. And yeah, so where is this? Yeah, the new Bronze Age collapse says the cobalt bomb, also known as End Times bomb, is an actual project by the US and China to build a nuke with two layers, one with cobalt that has longer half-life, which would destroy the planet. Not a fan. Thank you, Christian, for the super chat. Christian says this guy is with all the quote noble savages. I guess he's a follower of Rousseau, a philosopher I personally dislike more than Kant. All the more reason to become a member and join our sessions, our study group on Leonard Peikoff's courses, although we finished the history of philosophy, but both Rousseau and Kant are in there and the recordings are available.
Kant's not there. Kant is
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
he's in
EU.
the.
Yeah.
Did we not get to the later? Oh, okay. All
Well,
right.
it's not officially, but it's not accessible.
All right. Still more than worth those 10 pounds. I don't think I have anything to add about this guy. Tomorrow on the Daily Objective, we're going to talk about the deportation plan of people in Gaza and the fact that it is actually to some extent happening. Now, I've said I'm a big, big supporter of this, and I think if it happens, it should happen in full, but if it happens in part, good. To the extent that it happens, good, and hopefully it happens fully. So yeah, tens of thousands already departed so far in the war. Most of them earlier, but yeah, this is now being put in motion, and it is very, very good news. Yep. Seinfeld reference is needed. I don't know if I have a Seinfeld reference right now. How? All right, I will think. Actually, I will think of something. Daniel, if you do, you have Alex's super chat from yesterday because we it came in after the show and we never got to read it after the Daily Objective.
I can pull it up, although just quickly on sort of Mike Wallace's ideology. So I don't. He's technically an independent, I believe. But when it comes to the European Union or the Parliament, basically group, he is in the group called the Left, which is the pretty much the most far left group in the EU Parliament. So you cannot really get much worse than that. Now, Alex said I can send it to the chat.
So thank you, Alex, for the super chat from yesterday. It came in after we went off the air. Alex said the founder of the Palestinian movement, Al-Husseini, was an architect of the final solution who narrowly escaped Nuremberg. These MPs are Nazi. Absolutely. The MPs yesterday traveling to Israel have, as far as the Jews are concerned, an identical goal to the Nazis. And yeah, sue me if you want to claim that that is not the case. I will explain it in a court of law in great detail. I don't have a Seinfeld reference. Sorry,
Somebody
Akira.
said Elaine dated a communist. I remember that episode. That's pretty good.
Yes, I also remember that, but no, I don't know if that's the reference. Although I'm sure later tonight I will randomly watch some Seinfeld stuff and then it'll bring
We'll
up
do
the
a
reference.
special show if that happens.
Yes. By the way, a show, we usually do this behind the scenes, but since we have a few minutes left and we're done with the Irishman, I have I really want to do a show about is it Sam Sater who keeps going after Seinfeld? Like he's obsessed with Seinfeld. And YouTube, when you watch something, it recommends you similar things, and it keeps recommending me Sam Sater going off on Seinfeld. So that episode might be coming in on a slow news day, but yeah, I've already done the research because I watch them when they show up. It's hilarious in a sense, but it's also revealing as to who Sam Sater is, right?
Yeah, I want to make a point since if we might do an actual episode, some say that he's kind of an interesting guy. He actually had Euron Brook on, and he had I think he does call in shows. So and I think one objective is oftentimes calls in there. So you want to jump
Yeah,
in?
continue, but I have something to say about that.
Sure. So yeah, he's like pretty sort of open guy, and when you watch him, he's pretty funny. But yeah, when it comes to sort of his ideology, not to mention one of his co-hosts, I cannot remember her name right now. But yeah, they are really uninformed. If you know like any topic and you listen to them, when they try to talk about it, they're like super uninformed. It's pretty incredible to see.
That has been my experience watching these clips. It's Sam Seder going off, and then there's this woman there, I guess, because you have like to have a woman, otherwise you hate women or something. And yeah, she she doesn't say much, and when she does, it's like yeah, totally, dude. Something to that effect. Yeah, we will do that episode. It's gonna be a fun one. The fact that he had Yaron on, great. But I think he like put in the title libertarian philosopher or something, right?
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
mean,
Dan,
I only say it as yeah, like he had him on, but he made fun of him like
yeah, and
even after. And
Dan Norton does call in to his show from time to time, and he's not engaging with the ideas honestly when in those clips that I've heard of Dan Norton. So yeah, we'll do that. It'll be fun. It'll also be fun to talk tomorrow about the deportation from Gaza. Make sure you join us for that. And the reality show, we already have a topic, and I forgot what it is.
yeah,
Do you remember what it is?
uh, can quickly look it up. No, I don't remember, but we do have a
Okay.
topic.
Can you look it up, and I will read a couple of comments. Mick from the Jerk Store. No, because the jerk store was like an insult. It wasn't referring to actually it was referring to someone, but I don't know. That guy didn't it wasn't, jerk store or the jerk store guy wasn't Mick Wallace level. Um and there was another comment I wanted to read. Do you know the topic while I look for the other comment?
No, I cannot find. I don't remember where you sent me that.
Yeah, WB says that was Costanza. I mean the other guy who then left for a different job, and Costanza flew to Ohio to for his comeback on the insult. Uh, but yeah, right. We'll have a lot of Seinfeld references for the Sam Seder episode. There was a super interesting TRS tomorrow, and we have no idea what it is, although we have it in our notes. Make sure you tune into that, to the Daily Objective. All right, enough of the
Oh, it was
filibuster.
me.
This is like
Okay,
if we're in the European Parliament. But yeah, Daniel does
I
now.
remember now. I couldn't
But
find it because I posted it in potential topic, which is our Slack group,
people don't know about our different Slack channels, but yeah.
and then you send me a WhatsApp voice message where you all put out all the info. It's going to be talking about basically Israel is considering resuming the aid going into Gaza. So the topic is going to be about they basically never stopped it because even when Israel has stopped the aid from going in, there was already, I think, fuel was enough to go for weeks or even months, I think. And yeah, they had enough. Gaza had enough aid to basically go through, that stop. And if you resume it as soon as they start running out of aid, you haven't really like stopped it. You haven't really done what is necessary when it comes to war, and it's not to supply your enemies.
Yeah, that's tomorrow. By the way, we have a scheduled episode on Katie Halper, which is also coming, but it will be on a kind of slower news day. She's not that important, but interesting to talk about. Thank you, PC, for another super chat. PC says Palestinians or Syrians, really. They migrated in, yeah, from Syria and Egypt. But look, that isn't what, if they want to call themselves a nation, that's not my problem with them. My problem with them is they want to kill all the Jews. Like, you don't want to kill all the Jews, call yourself whatever you want. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the whole idea of sort of, I don't even know if like Syrians are real. If it's like the idea of ethnic groups is already like like it's collectivistic. It's like trying to group some people together based on sometimes important things and sometimes really unimportant things. Like when it comes to sort of the idea of ethnic Americans, that's such a thing doesn't exist because being an American is one, an idea, and two, sort of being a citizen of a American nation, but also an idea of living in a certain kind of nation. And that's what I think should it always be. American should never be sort of like white North Christian or anything similar to that. It should always be people being united by a certain idea. And in a similar way, sort of the idea of there is no really like Jewish ethnicity or sort of like Israeli ethnicity. There are people united by certain ideas, and I guess Palestinians are also that. They are not really an ethnic group. They're really united by an idea to destroy Israel.
Yeah. I'm not sure that Katie Halper episode actually is coming because one of the trolls in the chat, one of our most regular trolls in the chat says, want to talk bad about Katie, you got to go through me, LOL. So if we survive that, there will be a Katie Halper episode. If not, this show might go off the air soon. And Eploribus Burnham, I'm not going to read your comment, but thanks for the mental image. All right, enough. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow with the Daily Objective and the reality show.